Buying a presale condo or townhouse, for that matter, in my marketplace of Surrey, BC, can be an amazing experience and an even better investment. But if you think you're smart and you're going to try the whole flip a presale thing, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're about to get f***ed by taxes. That's right, there's only two guarantees in life. One is death, the other is taxes. And I know your buddy is bragging to you about how he just made a quick $150,000 on flipping his presale, but I guarantee you he didn't. And that's what this video is all about. I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know about making a quick buck on a quick flip in the province of BC, right after I ask you to please subscribe to the channel. This channel is dedicated to educating you about Surrey real estate, or BC real estate, or Canadian real estate for that matter. And all I ask from you in return is to dedicate yourself back by clicking the subscribe button. And if you have any questions about the market, you can book a call with me right down below in the description. And for this month only, I'm going to donate $1 during the entire month of October for any like that a video gets that's published within this month. All of that money is going to go directly to the Surrey Food Bank in replacement of our annual fundraiser that we normally would do, but we can't due to the virus. So if you want me to give $1 to the Surrey Food Bank up to $2,500, you can do so right now by clicking like on this video before October 31st. And if you yourself would like to donate to the food bank this year, you can do so down below using the link in the description. Thank you so much for helping me bring awareness to the Surrey Food Bank and those in need. Now back to the video. Now, if you bought a property from a developer with a little bit less experience, maybe not such a savvy developer, you may still be able to assign that contract for a small fee. So this is the best case scenario. If the property that you bought 2, 3, 4 years ago is up in value, and all you have to do in order to sell it to another party is pay the developer a little bit of that profit, say somewhere between 2 and 4% of the new price, then you could avoid a lot of the issues that I'm going to discuss here today. However, most developers are very savvy these days. And if you bought off of one of those guys that's not so savvy, you may want to rethink your strategy, because you could be buying a property that's not that great. So the savvy developers are stopping people from assigning their contracts, meaning you cannot flip that contract for profit. Probably a sign that you bought from a good builder. Good builders don't want you to assign a contract because they don't want the building to sell multiple times over. It makes them look really, really bad. Like, why are all these people trying to get out of the pre-sale that's not even done being built yet? Or even worse for the developer, if the market goes south, they may now be competing against units that they've already sold for the next sale. So they would actually have to drop their price even further than if they restricted the assignments. But let's say that your assignment is restricted and you bought from a good builder, but the good news is that the market has gone up. Let's say 3 or 4 years ago, you bought a condo for $450,000 plus GST. And now that condo upon completion is worth about $600K. Well, you just made 150 grand, right? Not so fast, buddy. Let's work through this. You paid $450,000 for your condo, but don't forget that pesky GST. You're likely going to have to pay another $22,500, bringing your total now up to $472,500. But you see an opportunity because that same property could now be worth $600,000. So what you want to do is complete on that property and immediately resell it for the lift. So the first thing people do is they market their property as no GST applicable. So now it's 600 grand with no GST on top, making it more attractive for the buyer, who, if they were to buy off a different developer, would likely be paying 600 grand right now, at least, or more, plus taxes. Well, GST is where most of the problem is. Everybody thinks because they paid the GST that it's no longer applicable. But the problem here is that you haven't moved into the unit. Unless you're going to actually physically move into the unit is still considered brand new. So when you go to sell it, GST is now going to be payable again on the 600,000. You see, resale properties are exempt from GST, but that's because they were the principal residence of the homeowner. And GST was likely already paid when the place was new. But because it's still new, that's when you're going to see that $30,000 come back into play for a second round of GST. And again, because you're likely not going to get a buyer that will pay the GST on top of, it's going to be included in that $600,000, making it come off of your net sheet. Now, here's where it gets kind of crazy. After you pay the GST twice, you should in theory be able to apply back to the CRA and get that initial amount of GST back. You may be successful in actually getting that money back, but what does that process look like? No, I'm asking you. I'm a realtor, not an accountant. What does it look like? Well, I'm hoping it looks like you getting the money back, but there's no telling how long that could actually take. Well, if you don't get that back, your $150,000 profit has now just sunk by $52,000 or more, making your current profit $97,500. It's still a pretty good profit. Well, don't forget, you're now also trying to resell the property. So you do have lawyers again, and also friendly realtors like me, probably for the tune of about another $25,000 because GST is also payable on my services. Now, this takes your profit down to about $72,500, or less than half of the original $150,000 that your buddy was bragging about. But the good news is you're exempt from the PTT, which is the property transfer tax here in BC, because you're a first-time buyer. Wrong again, sucker. Sure, the developer said that you do qualify for the first-time home buyer exemption of the property purchase tax, but they were referring to if you moved into the property as a first-time home buyer. With a quick trip to the website all about property transfer taxes here in the province of BC, you can find out that indeed you probably do qualify for your first-time home buyer's exemption if you meet all of the criteria that they outline. However, you have to keep reading to find out that there are actually penalties for false declarations, and a little known fact is your first-time buyer isn't just for Canada. You cannot have owned a property anywhere in the world at all. And most people miss scrolling down even further on the page to read the additional requirements, including the fact that you have to move into the property within 92 days of completion and stay in that property through the first anniversary date of your registration. So in other words, you've got another $7,700 worth of tax just for the pride of owning a property here in the province of BC. And now this takes your profit down to below $65,000. And because you now have a capital gain of almost $65,000, you will owe another $12,000 in taxes if you're currently making $100,000 a year, meaning your $150,000 profit just dropped to a hair over $52,000. Now, I did notice something new on the website that I didn't realize myself, that if you are an investor, you can actually get exempt from the property purchase tax as a reward for bringing more rental stock to the province. However, you have to pay the tax and then apply for it back when you show proof that you've rented out the unit. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's paint a best case scenario where you get back that original $22,500 in GST. Well, your profit now jumps back up to over $87,000, but now you've got a bigger capital gain. So your capital gains portion of the tax, making that same $100,000 a year, is now over $17,000, leaving you now with an estimated profit of $69,959. But if you're smart and you take all or a portion of that profit that you've just made and put it into your RRSPs, you do stand the chance of decreasing your capital gain substantially, possibly saving another $6,000 or $7,000. And at that point, you could be at almost $75,000 profit or more, but still half of that original amount that your buddy was bragging about. So there you go. Those are the realities of flipping your pre-sale. What you thought was your $150K is actually closer to $75,000 if you're lucky. And that means, to me, the better strategy for buying a Surrey pre-sale is to buy it and live in it, or buy it and invest and rent it out. Because your strategy in real estate should be to buy, hold, and never ever sell. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to book a call with me regarding your own real estate, you can do so right down below in the description. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button for the Surrey Food Bank. Check out another couple of videos while you're here on the channel, and we'll see you in a couple of days.